So now that we've covered the horse manure procurement side of things, let's get back into actually making the piles. But first, I still got one more input that I got to take care of, and that's coffee grounds. Another one of the inputs that I'm adding to my compost is coffee grounds. Now, these are from Starbucks, and Starbucks compresses their coffee grounds, so when you get them, they're in like a puck. I like to go ahead and break them up before I start getting my pile mixed up and put together. That way, you know, everything can sort of kind of blend together more than it would be if I would have just thrown in the pucks by themselves. But, I mean, you could probably get away with not doing this step. I just prefer just to go this route. And it doesn't really take too long. These I've had here in my garage for a while now, probably over a month. I've been feeding little bits of this to my worm farm. So of course it's got mold, or it did have mold in it, but it's like white mold, which is safe and fine. Plus that's a good food for worms anyway. So I'm gonna finish up. Like I said, I've almost done. This whole bucket was completely full for the most part. So once I'm done with this, we'll be picking it back up in the backyard where we can start getting everything mixed, blended, and stuffed into my compost bin. All right, so now we're in the backyard, and the first thing I do is take out all the compost that I've had sitting out in my compost pile over winter, which is just my old bed and trimmings and garden waste, really. And then once I get that all done, we will go ahead and spread it all out evenly on this tarp. It doesn't necessarily have to be too even, really, but I just do it since it's easier for the next steps, which is then the horse manure goes on, and we try to get that layered out as evenly as I can, knowing that, you know, the more even you can make it, the more easily it'll blend together once we get to the next step. I am putting all the coffee grounds evenly over top of the horse manure. I'm adding a product called Dirt Booster, which is mainly just your micronized biochar, corn distillates, dry molasses, and then there's like a fungi and bacterial package that's added into it. So once I get that down, then I'm going to just take a little bit at a time, mixing it up. Before I'm throwing it in, you'll see that I rolled up the tarp to pull the material closer, and that just mixes it and makes it easier. And then towards the end, I'll just sit there and pick it up and pour it in. Next, you see me just putting leaves on top of the pile, and then I will go ahead and we'll use the wheelbarrow to load up all my supplies and take it back into the garage. All right, and like that, we're all done. All I got left to do now is put the thermometer in there and cover it with plastic. So let's take a look real quick. And here she is, all done. Those were finely chopped leaves on top as like an insulator or a blanket or whatever. So we've got the thermometer in. Right now, of course, it's reading ambient temperature, which is a little over 70. So the next thing we're going to do is put these plastic over top just to get it to heat up faster and so the leaves don't blow away and to conserve water. Alright. Oh, and if you didn't know, this here is just agricultural fabric, so it's somewhat breathable. So it's not like I'm completely closing off all oxygen to it. It can go through. I mean, it might not be the best airflow ever, but it generally works, provided I keep an eye on the temps and just try to flip it every now and then. Usually works out pretty good. So that's about it. So one of the amendments is called Dirt Booster Plus, and really all that is pelletized biochar, and I believe it's distillate. Basically, it's the leftover after beer making or alcohol making, and dehydrated molasses, but it also has both a microbial and a bacterial package that's inoculated into the biochar. So I use that just to make sure I have a good mix of both fungi and bacterial colonies in my finished compost. And then I will also use some finely shredded leaves. Don't mind that, it's Cece. She's wanting inside. Finely shredded leaves to put on top as a cap to control the moisture and protect the heat and to insulate the pile. But then I also go another step by putting plastic on top to further insulate the pile itself and to capture whatever moisture is in there so that it doesn't get released too soon. But depending on how fast the pile heats up, if it stalls out in temperature, I might have to just take the plastic off. That's sort of kind of you work with it when you find it. But those are the only two things I think that I did not mention that you saw in my time lapse that I added into the pile. Oh, there was the other thing, which was in the planter, which really was just the oversized pieces of compost that when I sifted it didn't go through the sieve. So I also used that as a compost starter, even though the horse manure itself, the reason I grabbed some of the manure that was towards the back of the pile was because it was already hot. So I grabbed some from the front, and then I sandwiched some of the hot, already breaking down horse manure pile into the middle, and then I covered it back up with some of the fresher stuff. That way I at least had something there that was already breaking down, that was already heated up, so that when I came here, mixed it up, there was a higher chance of it sparking up just right away. So those are the three parts that I failed to mention in the garage and elsewhere in the video. All right, here we are, about, I'd say 13 hours or so since I made this compost pile. and already it's what, 112, so it's heating up. It'll keep going like this, and it'll probably top out about 140, and I'll let that go until I see it drop down to probably about 120, and then I'll worry about doing my flip on it. So that'll close out this compost pile. I just wanted to show you how I got it done and how fast it gets reacting, and back to work. Baby girl, what are you doing? Hi, River. Here's Cece. Baby girl, you can't get up there. You don't have enough leash. Buddy, what are you doing? Hi. Can you say hi? Can you say hi? You can't get up there. I'm sorry. You can get up over there, but you can't get up here. So that was it. That was my exhaustive process, I guess, to how I start my compost all the time. And if you can judge by the video, this is exactly why I only do 2 piles tops in a season. It takes a whole lot out of me. Cece's ready to go inside. So that's how that went. I'm happy it's done. It is definitely beer 30 time right now, and I'm just happy it's done. 1 out of the 2 piles that I've got to get done this year. So with that, thanks for following me along. Thanks for coming this far into the video. And as always, if you have any comments or questions, please put them down in the comment section of the video, and I will try my best to answer them or at least reply back to you guys. So with that, this is Big Wheel Dog 82 in the soil, and I'm out of here, guys. See you later.